to license it.
Meep, meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1:62 scale Matchbox BMW 3.0 CSL. It was produced from 1976 to 1981, and it's number MB45. Mine's in rough condition. Oh wow. The paint is badly chipped, and that's the best part of this one. The axles are bent, the wheels are shot, it has been chewed by the dog. And the worst part is the driver's side A-pillar is broken at the bottom, and the passenger side A-pillar is totally missing in action. Somebody played hard with this one, but I'll restore it. It's a buddy build with my friend Purp from Quebec, Canada. Purp and I found that we both had one of these castings, that they were both in equally bad condition. He sent me a pic of one of his, and he said, I've got a replacement for parts. Good, because the upper half needs to be replaced. There's a link for Purp's channel in the description, and these are a couple more builds coming up, including a special all-Canadian die-cast build-off on Canada Day, July 1st. If you enjoy these kind of videos, I'd like you to give a thumbs up to this one and become a new subscriber to my channel if you're not already. I appreciate all of my regular viewers, new ones, and long-time standing viewers. Welcome back. I'm glad you've been supporting me over this first year online, and I hope you'll come back regularly. The BMW E9 is a range of coupes that was produced from 1968 to 1975. The E9 was based on the BMW 2000C and 2000 CS four-cylinder coupes, which were enlarged to fit the M30 six-cylinder engine. The E9 bodywork was built by Karmann. As a racing car, the E9 was very successful in the European Touring Car Championship and the Deutsche Rennsport Meisterschaft, especially the 3.0 CSL homologation model, which is the one I'm working on today. The E9 range was replaced ultimately by the E24 6 series. I like this Matchbox casting with the opening doors, and I'll have to be very careful to organize all these pieces, especially that little tension spring. And here's the main job today. It's going to be an exercise in repair, but I'm going to use a common hairpin, which is exactly the right size as a replacement. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and stay dialed in here and see if I'm successful at bringing this really mangled old model back to life. Introduced in May 1972, the 3.0 CSL was a homologation special built to make the car eligible for racing in the European Touring Car Championship. 1,265 of them were built. The L in the designation is the German word leicht, which is light, unlike the other BMW designations where it meant lang, which is long. The lightness was achieved by using thinner steel to build the unit body, deleting the trim and soundproofing, and using aluminum alloy doors for the bonnet and the boot lid also. The 500 3.0 CSLs exported to the UK were a little bit heavier than the others, as the importer had insisted on retaining the soundproofing, electric windows, and stock E9 bumpers on these cars. The CSL was never marketed or sold in the United States. You can see that the base cleaned up very nicely with a little decalking solution and the wire brush treatment. And I will never know why Matchbox made colored windshields, but I'm dealing with a green one today, so I'm going to have to choose a body color that will be a good match for that. Into the pledge it goes, after some wet-dry sanding to take away the scuffs and nearly 50 years of scratches. It'll be good for 50 more. This one was overnight in the paint stripping gel. And it comes off very, very easily, and at this point in every restoration process you really get to see what you're working with. Oftentimes, once the chip paint is removed, you find out the casting is not in such bad shape as what you thought. It was cosmetic. But I give it the same treatment here, and all the attention you give to a car at this stage in the game sure pays off in a much nicer looking final product. I have a couple of different attachments for my Dremel tool for getting inside and around small places. Pretty important to get all of the residual paint off before you go to the paint booth for a new coat. Cleaned up very nicely. And now my attention goes to the most important part of this job, the A-pillar repair. Now, if you've got an assortment of super glues like I do, you'll find that you pay $10, use it once, and then it dries up in the bottle. And I put a lighter on the needle applicator on mine and just run it for a second or two, and that unclogs it. Works beautifully again. And now I'm replacing the piece of the hairpin that was cut to size. It was tacked in place with super glue, and here I'm adding a little bit of baking powder to it, which gives it some kind of chemical reaction, making a super duper bond. But it's most essential now, the next day, to give it some careful filing, and I want to be sure that when I'm finished you can't tell which pillar was repaired. I also worked on some of the ugly casting lines with the diamond files, and so I go back over each of those areas with the wire brush again. And when I'm satisfied that you can't see any seams anymore, goes into the spray booth for some primer. And this is my last chance to carefully look at everything to see if there are any imperfections or blemishes, and there are not. So I've decided to use this nice blue color, which I think is going to look really sharp. Initially using the same engine as the 3.0 CS, the 3.0 CSL was given a very small increase in displacement to 3003 cc, making the CSL eligible to be raced in the over 3 liter category. After some more tweaking and beefing up, the final version of the 3.0 CSL was homologated in July 1973. The CSL competed in Group 2 in the European Touring Car Championship, with CSL drivers winning the driver's title 6 times between the years 1973 and 1979. It's got a pretty good racing pedigree. I'm taking the time now to paint the inside of the door cards black to match the newly painted black interior. And that's a little detail that some people might just not do. There's the famous grille on every BMW. I've had that grille on 3 different cars now, but mine were all entry-level 318s, but still super fun to drive, especially on the Swiss Alpine passes and the German Autobahn, which is just across the border from my home in Switzerland. Which reminds me, if you're watching today, I invite you to leave your respectful comments below and be sure to tell me where you're watching from, because I'm really interested to know. It's already a worldwide audience, and maybe your country is one I can add to my list of faithful and regular viewers. So be sure to add that in when you leave a comment about what you think of this video. Speaking of comments, I got this one from alert viewer RJ Robles, who, having seen only the promo pic of this car, wrote, "Can't wait for the BMW 3.0. I wonder if you'll be cutting off the B-pillars. I've not seen a picture of the real one with B-pillars. Check these pics out." It's true words. When this comment came in, I'd already finished the restoration, edited the video, and uploaded it with a release date on YouTube. So I wrote back to RJ and said, "You're right." And I'm going to add a note in the description about that error. And then I decided I got the time, let's do this thing right. So I threw a beautifully finished car back into the stripper, cut off the B-pillars, filing, sanding, primer, and fast forward to now, fresh out of the paint booth where we left off. I'd been true to the original casting, but not the real car. Thanks, RJ. Proof that I read all your comments and take action when necessary. I thought long and hard about decaling this one up, and I decided, with a little bit of inspiration from the original orange car, just to put the BMW racing stripe colors on the hood of this one, with the world's smallest BMW logo on the hood and on the trunk as well. BMW stands for Bayerische Motorwerks, based in Munich, Germany, and the logo is a stylized aeroplane propeller. Did you know that? That's what they did originally in their factory before getting into the production of cars that we know well today. Well, the paint is dried and cured, and the few bits that came out in the disassembly go back together beautifully. And it's ready to lock it down with the screws. At this stage in the game, be sure not to torque these down too tightly or the wheels won't turn. Too loose and everything's going to fall apart, so sometimes there's a little adjustment twist. Let's have a closer look now. You can see the grille detail that I did, and there's a replacement set of wheels on there that I think look really good. They're real rubber. Base got shinied up a little bit, and I put my logo on the bottom. You can see the inside door cards painted up. Yep, it does match. I had my doubts in the beginning that I'd be able to pull this off because of the state of disrepair that the original was in. Keep your eyes on these A-pillars especially. And look at that. You can't remember which side was repaired. I think this one turned out absolutely spectacularly, and I'm very pleased with it overall. Lights are glistening on that nice clear coat on top of a triple color paint job. Detailed front and back, and it's just really going to make a great gift, I hope, for a little boy or girl, because that's where it's going to, my local Goodwill store. Thanks for visiting my channel today, and be sure to check out the link in the description for Purp's YouTube channel to see what he does with his little Beamer. And I welcome you back here anytime and often. It's coffee time.